All right, so on to some other news
Yes.
today. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is facing new legal trouble with the special counsel, now claiming that he violated his plea bargain. Prosecutors allege in a court filing Manafort lied to the FBI and the special counsel's office on a variety of subject matters. Manafort made a deal back in September to cooperate in any and all matters related to Mueller's Russia investigation.
Of course, now the president has responded in a series of tweets attacking the special counsel this morning. The president wrote in part, quote, "The phony witch hunt continues. Wait until it comes out how horribly and viciously they are treating people, ruining lives for them, refusing to lie. Mueller is a conflicted prosecutor gone rogue." Paula Reid is at the U.S. District Courthouse in Washington and joins us now. Good to see you, Paula. So does this filing mean that the plea agreement is null and void?
Essentially, yes. Manafort agreed to cooperate with the government in exchange for them dropping most of the charges against him. But his end of the deal was that he had to provide accurate, truthful information. And if he lied, then the government is no longer bound by any of the promises that they made to him, and they can even refile those charges that were dismissed. Now, Manafort's lawyer insists this is not true and that his client has been nothing but truthful.
So why would someone violate a plea agreement? I mean, isn't it? I presume it's pretty important for him to stay out of jail. So why would he do this?
Oh, if only I knew. We have a little bit of insight from his trial this summer. He was essentially convicted of lying repeatedly about the money he was earning through his lobbying work on behalf of the Ukraine, not only failing to disclose that money to the government, but eventually failing to disclose exactly how much he made. So this is someone who has been effectively convicted of lying, and it never ceases to amaze me how many very smart, very clever people lie to the government and get caught. Martha Stewart, General Petraeus, very smart people lie to the government, and it is just a mystery to me as to why they do that.
Well, I mean, just generally speaking, human nature is such that people lie because they are afraid of something. And the question and the answer that we don't know, Paula, obviously, is what is Mr. Manafort afraid of? And the other question that I have is, could he potentially receive a pardon from the President of the United States? And if he doesn't receive that pardon, what happens next?
He could potentially receive a presidential pardon. This is something that the president has suggested he might be open to. Right now, Manafort is potentially going to spend the rest of his life in prison based on that conviction from the summer and these additional charges in Washington. But a presidential pardon would not spare him any state charges that were filed connected to his financial fraud. So right now, a presidential pardon would be great, but it doesn't foreclose on the possibility of future state-level charges.
So then another big question is sort of what does this mean for the Mueller investigation? Obviously, Manafort would have been a star, witness to have cooperate with you. I'm presuming that, when it comes to Mueller, the reason he knows that Manafort is lying is because he has other star witnesses that have somehow verified that. So is this a big loss for the Mueller investigation or not?
Well, we have no indication that Manafort was going to testify either against the president or anyone in his family. He was helping with a sort of different aspect of the investigation having to do with a law firm. So now they've sort of lost that key witness. They were, of course, hoping that Manafort may potentially provide valuable information about the infamous Trump Tower meeting. But as you said, now he can really no longer be used. But he was already considered sort of a questionable witness as it was. So right now, this is a loss for the special counsel, but the investigation continues. The grand jury continues to hear from witnesses here at federal court in Washington, and we do expect that the special counsel will file additional charges.
So, Paula, we've got about 30 seconds left, but Anne Marie does bring an interesting point up, which is the fact that Mr. Mueller and his teammates know that Mr. Manafort is lying suggests that they have spoken to a lot of other people and they have a lot of other documents. Could we, in the case of this, Mr. Manafort, start to see some of that information that Mr. Mueller has leak out to the press? I know they've not been leakers in the past, but I'm just suggesting that because of what's happened to Manafort, that they know something and maybe we'll know a little bit of that too.
I do not expect anything from the special counsel to leak. They just don't leak information. But it is possible that this could be incorporated into that final report. We know special counsel Robert Mueller is working on his final report, a summation of everything that he's learned in the course of this investigation. What we don't know is whether or not that final report will be made public. That will ultimately be up to Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. So ultimately, we'll just wait and see how much about this we'll find out. Right now, special counsel is being very clear. They're not revealing anything about what he lied about. And it's just, right now it's unclear. We do not know whether or not this information will ever be made public.
All right, Paula Reid, as always, great to have you. Thanks, Paula.